Hello, guys. I am here again. I am going to talk to you guys about how I got into hair. So, growing up, I've always wanted to be a fashion designer. I've always wanted to either be a fashion designer or a dancer, a professional dancer. Um, that those are my two major biggest things that I've always wanted to do. And then I was going to the University of Houston, and I was working two jobs. I was working at Ross, and I was also working at this company, this hair salon company in Houston, Texas called Visible Changes. And I was a receptionist at Visible Changes. And I've always loved that salon because I've gone there since I was little. I always got my haircuts there. And I thought it was really cool that I was a receptionist there. So I was a receptionist, and if if y'all don't notice the way I talk, I am hearing impaired, so I speak the way I talk. So, anyways, I couldn't hear as a receptionist. Every time they a client would call on the phone and I'm answering and they're speaking a little too low, and I would go to my coworkers and I'm like, here, I don't take the phone. They're like, well, what appointment do they want? I was like, I don't know. I couldn't hear them. So you were just talking to them the whole time, and I was like, yeah, but I didn't. I felt bad. Anyway, I couldn't hear them. I sucked at the receptionist, and so yeah. So one slow night, I was sketching, and I was, just drawing this outfit and doing the hair and everything. And my manager at the time, who is my dear friend, to this day, anyways, I was sketching, and she just looked up. She looks at me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just drawing." And she's like, you have an amazing eye. Look at the way you're doing the hair with the dress, and the way you are artistic. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she's like, no, you have a good eye. You need to do hair. You need to make fast money, and you need to do hair. And I was like, no, no, not my thing. I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, you really need to think about it because you have a good eye for it. And I was like, yeah, thanks, Mary, but no, I'm not gonna do it. I was like, I was set on being a fashion designer. At this point in my life, I was set on being a fashion designer. I just graduated high school, was going to University of Houston, and I was just just trying to discover myself. And I think it was like 2 to 3 months that passed, and I just kept messing up, as a receptionist. I couldn't, apparently, I was always over on my drawer, like, over, like, I always ended up owing money at the end of the day because I didn't count the money right when the clients would pay. I was just bad. Anyway, so my manager at the time, Mary, she, she was like, you really need to think about being a hairdresser because you suck as a receptionist. And I was like, she's like, I'm gonna have to let you go because you can't do the job right. And I was like, so then that night I was like, I really need to think about this. Is this something that I should do or whatever? And I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. I was young enough to just to explore. So I ended up going to cosmetology school, and I can honestly say that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that was almost 13 or 14 years ago. And I've been with that company for 10 years, and I was extremely successful. I had drive. I, I had the passion. I knew what I was gonna do. I worked on my people skills, and you know, that company was the best company to work for ever. If you are a hairdresser in Houston, Texas, or in Texas, Visible Changes is amazing. And anyway, so I was winning competitions, flying out to Miami, flying out to New York City, and just everywhere, like Vegas. Like I was going to all these competitions and I was winning them. I was getting top three. I was in hair magazines, like everything, you name it. And it was just like, wow, like all because I just took that one step, and you know, the universe, or I like to say, God, God put that particular person right in my path because he had a plan. He knew what he was doing, and here I am today. Like, who would have known what would have happened if I just tried to do fashion design or professional dancing or whatever. And the lesson with that is that just take a chance, get out of your comfort zone. Just really, like, step out of the box, because you never know what's going to happen. What's the worst that can happen? What's actually worse is, getting older and just say, man, I just wish I could have done that. I watch a lot of documentaries and, interviews and stuff like that. And every time an interviewer asks a senior citizen or an older person, you know, this particular question, and this question is, what is the one thing you regret? And they always say, like, I should have just stepped out of my comfort zone. I wish I could have done that. I didn't want to do that. And, and thank God I was able to realize that at a young age. And, and that goes for you guys too. Step out of your comfort zone. You know, don't hold back, because you don't want to get older thinking you should have done that. It's better to get older saying, yeah, I tried that. It didn't work out for me, but at least I tried it and I experienced it. That's a good feeling. Or, being successful at what you do, all because, you went out on a limb. And another thing is, it's like, you cannot force an outcome. If you want something so bad, if you want to be, if I wanted to be a fashion designer and I was trying and I was trying and I was forcing, but, when you force something to happen, it will not go the way it's supposed to, Let things happen the way it's supposed to happen. Listen to your gut. Listen to that voice in your head, and just follow. Just go with the flow. Don't hesitate. Don't be scared. And if your family tells you, no, you can't live far away. You can't move all the way over there. You can't do this. Are you sure you're gonna make it? I got it all. Even my old coworkers, they would just tell me, are you sure you're gonna make it out in LA? Because people are afraid of taking the chance. Don't be afraid, because I wasn't afraid to take the chance. I was at first, but I pushed myself to start hair, and look at where I am. Like, God is so good. So, let that be a lesson for you guys. Just, take a chance. Just try something new. You just never know. You never know what can happen. And what's the worst that can happen? What? It's no. It didn't work out. At least you tried it. At least you're experienced, and at least, when somebody crosses your path and say, hey, I heard you try to do this. Can you give me advice? You have the answers. You know, always help each other out. You know, everybody has an experience, everybody has a story. You know, be a blessing to them. I love you. God is love. Let's love each other.